Outcomes X is essentially transforming social investment by turning it into an investable asset. Sounds complicated. It is. So let's get straight to Phyllis Costanza, President and co-founder of Outcomes X. Phyllis, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Was that correct? You're transforming social investment so it becomes an investable asset.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We're turning social outcomes into an asset that can be bought and sold.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me how that works, because that does sound quite complex.
I know, and it's not as complicated as it sounds. If you think about the carbon market, what they've done is taken an intangible asset, reduction in carbon offsets, and turned it into an actual asset that can be bought and sold. We're doing the same thing with social impact. We're taking a standardized set of outcomes and verifying that they have indeed occurred, and then selling them on the platform of Outcomes X in partnership with AVPN.
So what sort of response have you had to this sort of game-changing idea? You know, are you being welcomed? Is it harder than you expected? Because it really comes down to measurement with this sort of thing, and measurement is hard.
Yes. It is hard, and it's controversial too. You know, there's people who say, I won't invest in anything unless there's a randomized controlled trial that proves that this thing actually works. And in some cases, an RCT is incredibly valuable and necessary, but it's not necessary in all cases. And so what we're doing is asking organizations to have robust evidence of impact, but we're not telling them what metrics and things to measure. And that information gets verified by an outside party. And once it's verified, if the quality of evidence is high enough and good enough and robust enough, then we'll put that on our market to sell.
And are you finding that those are being sold?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the reaction that we're getting, I would say any social innovation, the reaction falls into three categories. The first category are the innovators. And those are people like AVPN that say, I love this. This is turning philanthropy on its head. This is exciting, it's new, and it's going to be highly impactful. And then you have the others who say, interesting, but we're gonna follow. We're gonna see how this evolves. And then the third category is the people say, oh, we tried that in 1974, it'll never work. So we're focusing on the innovators to help us get started, and there are a lot of them out there. I mean, we are being, especially here at this conference, inundated with requests for meetings and information, and organizations that have spent so much money trying to fundraise, and organizations that are delivering great impact on the ground particularly love this. Because right now it costs nonprofits about $20 for every $100 they raise. So this is a way for them to raise sustainable financing in a much, much less expensive way, and it rewards the organizations that are delivering the best impact.
So how has Outcomes X funded itself?
Well, we started out with seed funding from Gates Foundation, from Google.org, and from Sorensen Impact Institute. And we are now raising our first round of capital, but we are a for-profit entity, and our business model is we take a transaction fee from the total transaction cost.
So the funds that are raised from selling on this marketplace go directly to the initiative.
Exactly. 100% of the money that is raised for organizations goes to the organizations themselves. And what is so important for these organizations is, first of all, it is really incentivizing the smaller local community-based organizations, which we don't see. So we really are trying to get those organizations onto the platform because they understand the communities in which they're working, and they're oftentimes delivering the best impact at the best price, frankly. And so those organizations now get rewarded based on the actual impact they're delivering, not on the quality of their fundraising.
Is it hard to get the verification done, particularly if you're dealing with an organization that's dealing in remote communities?
Yeah. So there's always a trade-off when you are looking to scale something. Scale required speed It requires cost effectiveness and it requires standardization. So unless you can scale, you're not going to make a huge impact. So we are really focusing on how do we make this very cost effective for nonprofits to get verified and do it quickly. So if you look at the carbon market right now, it can take upwards of 5 years and $50,000 to get a program listed on one of the registries. And that just is way too long, it's way too expensive. So for what we partner with the Impact Genome Registry, which is the first social outcomes registry, and they do the verification, and it costs nonprofits $1,000 to get verified. So it's extremely cost effective, and it takes about 4 weeks.
Okay. It's a really, really exciting initiative. Thank you so much for coming to chat to us today, Phyllis.
Thanks for having me.